Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. I am a registered builder in the state of Texas and a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders. I am also a member of the Green Building Council. And today's topic is going to be mold, mildew, and radon gas. My guest this morning is Jean Gibson with Gibson Home Building. How are you this morning?
I'll find out after I find out if I glow in the dark from radon. So,
well, we're going to talk about the mold and mildew first, and that's one of the primary problems we have here in Texas is moisture intrusion. And,
you mean down on the coast, not up here?
Well, no, here too. I mean, if you don't build your house right or have it built right, or some of the older homes and stuff, you get moisture intrusion, and when you do, you have problems with mold and mildew. And not all molds are bad, but I mean,
you have to explain that one.
Well, we use mold for penicillin. You have mold in cheese. There's all sorts of things that are good, and actually in the forest and on the ground floor, the mold actually is a living organism that emits an enzyme that decomposes and causes. That's how you get compost.
Oh, but if you have cheese on the walls and penicillin on the floor, and your floor's decomposing because of mold, this is not good.
Well, there's over 100,000 different species of mold, and there's only a few that are harmful to man.
The ones that make you sneeze and are airborne?
Well, there's some molds that can kill you.
Oh. And any of those relevant to us here in Texas?
Yes.
Some of the dangerous molds?
Some of the dangerous molds, and I can't pronounce all the names of the dangerous ones, but mold has to have three things to live, and it has to have oxygen, it has to have moisture, it has to have a drink of water, and it has to have a food supply. And so if you eliminate one of the three, then it can't survive. Now, mold spores are prevalent all the time, everywhere around you. In your house, you're not going to get rid of the mold spores. But mold spores are not harmful.
Well, how big? What are we talking about? Something little in the air?
Yeah, it's microscopic.
Oh, okay.
And
with me and all my bleach that I have always used, I'm Florida trained, that you spray bleach on everything. Isn't that clearing it all up?
It will clear it for a certain period of time, but it won't eliminate. There is no permanent moldicide.
Oh.
Or a fungicide. I mean, you can spray it on, but you're going to have to repeat the process. Primarily, mold will grow, and it grows at its best when relative humidity is 77% or higher.
And the ideal humidity for a house
is about
50%.
50%.
So it's not an ideal environment.
No, but let's see.
Well, do molds grow in sunlight?
Yes. They will if they don't require sunlight. But you've got certain molds and mosses and stuff like that they don't do well because it tends to dry them out.
Oh, okay.
And the molds thrive on organic materials such as paper, which is most of your older sheetrock and all your sheetrock. Most of your new sheetrock is going in. They got some paperless sheetrock now that goes in to prevent that.
What's that new siding that I spotted? You haven't found out what that was yet? That's green.
No,
it's not siding. It's underneath
sheathing.
The siding. Sheathing. That's green.
Yeah, that's one of the later materials that are coming out. They're replacing house wrap with it. And they're actually taping seams with it and all that.
But sheetrock is still paper covered?
Most all your sheetrock is paper covered, but they've got paperless sheetrock out there now to eliminate mold growth. But the molds grow on organic materials such as paper, leather, natural fibers, surfaces coated with the slightest amount of any kind of organic material. And most people are keeping their thermostats now at 78 degrees in their house. Well, the optimal growth temperature range for mold is 77 degrees up to about 88 degrees. So it will grow in any temperature from about 32 degrees on up to 95 degrees or so.
Wow.
as long as it's got the food source, oxygen. It requires moisture, and the optimal growth range is from 70% humidity up to about 93% humidity.
And that's your favorite comment about air conditioning units that cycle on and off quickly are not really dehumidifying.
Right. That's the reason you want to have your air conditioning person, whoever has installed your units or whatever, they do a manual J calculation on there and calculate what it needs for cubic volume of air to heat and cool that. And the reason they do it, because you want it to run for a particular amount of time. And what you're doing, you're dehumidifying the house. And you want to keep your relative humidity around 50% in your house. And so if you know, like Toolman Tim, you know, I want a 20-ton air conditioning system,
that's
to
right,
cool a 3,000 square foot house, so I can cool it down real quick. Well, what they're doing, they're actually hurting themselves.
And so they cool it down really quick, but the humidity doesn't get reduced.
Right, because you've got to cycle, you've got to run it for a particular length of time for it to suck all the moisture out of there. If you've ever watched air conditioned or drip and stuff like that,
yes.
You know, they have developed condensation and they'll drip because they're pulling moisture out of the air. They're dehumidifying the air, and that's what you're wanting to do. And like
if your house is too dry, will you still develop molds and funguses?
You develop other problems. But we're talking about molds today.
All right.
And,
so
but
if you go too far, you have to be optimum at 50%.
Well,
so if you dry it too much,
best.
you've got something
you've got
got
viruses, you've got other things that will
it dry.
come in and take place. But if you keep your relative humidity below 62%, it pretty well stops all chances of mold growth. So you've got a pretty good leeway there, 50 to 55%, 60%.
But if I put plastic on the outside of my house with that wrap,
you're not supposed to put plastic on the side. You're not supposed to.
Well, isn't that house wrap Tyvek that you see everywhere?
It's not plastic. No, it's breathable. It's semi-permeable. So
so if I save money by using something from the corner store that's plastic,
you're not saving money. You're causing problems. You don't want to seal it. You want it to breathe. And so what you're doing with house wrap is providing a drain plane. You want to stop the moisture from coming through. You're not going to stop it all, but you're going to stop a great deal amount of it. But you want it to breathe to be able to dry out. So when we put the house wrap underneath the brick and all the stuff, what you're doing, you're allowing a drain plane. So any moisture that does get in actually drains down to the bottom, and we put weep holes at the bottom where we lay our brick every 4 feet or so, and that's where the water drains out, and you've got a natural airflow back through there that dries it out.
The brick isn't adhering directly to the Tyvek?
No, you've got about 1.5 inches or so space behind there for an air gap, and you need that air gap to avoid problems.
But the brick's attached other ways. It's not sitting independent.
No, there's brick ties that are nailed down to the sheathing, and then they're folded down, put in between the mortar. And that's.
Is there any harm when you cover windows with, in cold weather, people who don't have storm windows will do plastic over the windows and use solid plastic up there. Is that doing any harm as long as you're not wrapping the whole house in it?
No, we'll discuss that. No, they're not, but we'll discuss that. We've got to take a break here. We'll be right back.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer JennAir, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with a selection of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, mirrors, and vanities in all sizes. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
North Texas Basements, 817-770-2768. With over 30 years of experience in residential construction, add extra living area, storm protection, and extra room that will be easy to heat and cool without needing a large piece of ground to build on. Think about having a basement in your next home. North Texas Basements, 817-770-BSMT or 817-770-2768.
Are you looking for a law firm with an understanding of the construction industry? Kelly M. Davis & Associates experience includes home inspections, construction contracts, disputes with builders, and helping subcontractors or vendors that have not been paid for their services. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009.
Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Principal offices are located in Lewisville, Texas.
Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. And during the break, we had another member, Matt Davis of MHD Construction, join us. How are you?
Good morning.
Oh,
fine.
Finally.
Yeah, and you have re-roofed half of the town, right?
Close to.
Have you got any good remodels going on?
Oh, just some small
little stuff,
trim things. Yeah.
Darn, I want to see one.
Nothing historic.
No, those things come, every other year or something.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I want to see one of these
because they last that long too. So.
Well, if they've been around over 100 years, they ought to last a couple more until you get to it, right? Unless they have a mold and mildew problem, and that could cause.
Oh, yes, we have to get back on track.
Have to get back on track here, but if they have a mold and mildew problem, it causes rotting and all this other stuff. But we've been talking about mold, mildew, and we're going to get on radon gas here later on in the show. But mold is promoted by it. Normally, you've got to have a slightly acid condition. Like I said, you got to have oxygen. And you got to have moisture, and you got to have some food source for them to survive. And you can control it by chlorine products and stuff like that.
Do.
But there's no, like I was telling you, there's no permanent type of moldicide or fungicide that you can use that will last forever. Because if any type of cellulose or any food source gets on whatever material there, you've got a possibility of growth if you got the conditions right. You got any mold problems, Mac?
Have you encountered any with remodels?
A lot.
Surely.
Yeah.
That's where you encounter most of them. Is with.
So you rip out?
Depends if it's a historic factor. If we can save it, no.
Yeah, and
we use our special products of
bleach.
Yes.
The commercial, the stuff in the grocery store is 5%, I think. 5%.
Nah, I put a 0 with it.
5%.
I get rid of it. I don't want it coming back.
Oh, you put 50%.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because the stuff that I just use and have always used is the stuff that you get in the grocery store. But that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bleach knocks it out. And then put an oil-based primer over it, and it'll...
To seal it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I said,
it'll come back to right where it was. I mean,
yeah, because the mold spores are always present around you. I mean, there's no way that you can get away from them.
Well, they would be embedded in the wood then.
Well,
or the sheetrock, or
anything that's a fibrous cellulose type, or anything that can have a wood product, basically, that would have some type of food in it. But it can grow on anything. If it's contaminated with any type of organic
Where
substance.
is black mold different than other molds?
It is fatal. the spores get in the air, and if you've got a mold problem, it's either better to call somebody and do a remediation type process, because if you can see it, most likely it's spread in other places throughout.
Well, how do I know the difference? In the shower stall gets the black and the grout. Is that black mold?
It's a type of black mold. I don't know if it's the type that
it's lethal.
But you can clean that stuff up. It's the stuff that you can't see behind the walls.
The finger points this way.
Anything.
Yeah, if you see it on sheetrock, it's obviously behind it.
Yeah. So if you're cleaning it off on one side, you've probably got.
But is there any way to tell the difference between something that needs a professional remediation and something that just needs me and my Clorox spray bottle?
Well, you can. The best thing to do is call a professional out and have them look at it and evaluate it. But if you are going to take care of yourself, they say wear a mask, wear gloves, and because when you're in the process of cleaning it, you're going to put some in the air, kind of like asbestos. You don't jack around with asbestos unless you know what you're doing. And you're not supposed to. I mean, you're not supposed to. Anytime you desert, because asbestos by itself, just laying there, is no harm at all. It's when you're tearing it out and
make it airborne.
Make it airborne is when you get a problem, and you inhale it, and that's where the problem arises. Y'all do any remediation, Mac?
Not really.
Where's the nearest remediation company? I mean, if you got into a remodel that was
there's a couple in Fort Worth.
Are there?
Yes.
They're close by, and they're special, approved by the Environmental Protection Agency or somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
They're licensed to do it. They're licensed remediators. I mean,
they'll come tint your house and.
Yeah.
When they take away the asbestos, where does it go from my house?
We're talking about mold, not asbestos.
Well, when they take away the black mold, where does it go?
You can kill it. I mean, you can.
They're not going to. They're not gathering up black mold and carrying it off. They're killing it.
Right. But if it's embedded in, like, you've got certain types of insulation. Like fiberglass insulation won't grow it, but if you get any type of organic material on that insulation, well, it will embed in it, and we've got to take another break. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
Are you looking for a law firm with an understanding of the construction industry? Kelly M. Davis and Associates experience includes home inspections, construction contracts, disputes with builders, and helping subcontractors or vendors that have not been paid for their services. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009.
Kelly M. Davis and Associates principal offices are located in Louisville, Texas. Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with a selection of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, mirrors, and vanities in all sizes. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. For an appointment with a Fort Worth lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Gene Gibson with Gibson Home Builders and Mac Davis with MHD Construction. We've been talking about mold and mildew, and an ounce prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if you can...
What are you hearing?
An ounce of prevention, like I said, is worth a pound of cure. So with mildew problems, especially true. If you can control one of the three items for mold and mildew, it will not grow. So all you've got to do is take care of one of the three, either the food source, the moisture problem, or the temperature. So the actual temperature, you have a problem with, because like I said, it'll grow between 32 and 95 degrees, and there's nothing. I mean, you're going to have to keep it on your comfort level, but you can control the relative humidity, and that's what you want to do, is do that. And you want to get on to the radon gas?
Yes, I want you to tell me about radon gas, because we've been looking, we're designing our perfect house.
Are you?
And I want this gigantic subterranean living area.
Okay.
We briskly call it a basement.
I'm calling it a cave.
I like to say seal it up on the outside and the end.
Oh, well, yeah. and then that's when it occurred to me, what are we doing about radon? And I wasn't even sure if radon was just, urban legend or if it even existed.
It exists.
Radon gas.
Have they eliminated most of the products that are causing that now?
No, the products are in the soil. Uranium, plutonium, and stuff, and it causes by the decay. And the radon produces what they call daughters, which is the airborne particles that
are radon?
Attach. Well, they attach to oxygen molecules and stuff like that, and they become airborne. So the gas itself is called radon gas.
Okay.
And what it does, it's emitted up through the soil. And it can occur anywhere on the planet. We don't have a great deal of problem with it here, but they had a company that did a test in Dallas, and what they did, they sent out 1,000 test kits. 10% of the test kits came back with levels greater than that would create a health problem, and that is... it's like 4.
Yeah, you were telling me on a scale of 1 to 100 that they came back at 4, and that was a low level. That's low risk?
No, that anything above a 4 is high risk.
Okay.
High risk.
So 4 is a moderate then?
Well, yeah, 4 is a moderate, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
But you can't see it, you can't smell it, and the only way you can is test for it to find out if you've got it. And there's areas here that have acceptable levels. Most of the areas around us have acceptable levels, but Dallas had the test come back. They were doing tests in Dallas and Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
And they had one come back with 100 parts per million, which was, it depends on what mineral deposit you're setting over. And it's just like, I preach doing soil analysis when we do our foundations and stuff like that, because you don't know what's down there. Well, the same way on radon, and radon is the number one cause of lung cancer for non-smokers. And it's right up there with the smokers as far as, and so it is a dangerous gas. And it needs to be, and the only way that you can find out is to test. And the test kits start at about $12. And
Where?
Just go online to Radon.
Okay. It's nothing I can pick up at Walmart then.
No.
It's always been one of those things that's always been there in the back of your brain that it exists, but it's up north in the basements. It's nothing here.
Right, and that's what I thought before I started reading about this stuff.
And didn't they do an Extreme Makeover? Do you ever watch that show, the Extreme Makeover Home Edition? Because their house was poisoned with radon and making the whole family sick.
Well, some of the myths on this stuff are like scientists are not sure.
It's funny, none of the old homes have this problem because they breathe.
Well, yeah, that's one of the problems. And what we've done, we've sealed them up.
Yeah,
and
there's no place to get out.
So
basically, that's what it is.
Yeah, because if one of the main ways to eradicate it is ventilation.
Yeah,
and
dissipate the particles in the open air.
Right.
So that's a lower percentage that you're inhaling.
And well, that's the only way to control them. Is
never had radon gas before the 80s.
They had it, but,
but we didn't even know about it because
they just died of lung cancer because they didn't smoke, and they figured, well, it just must have been pollution. Well, they called it pollution of some type.
But the houses weren't sealed tight enough with our house wraps and everything. And
correct.
Wow. And I wonder, underground testing, if that's had any kind of effect on this, too, when you consider that these are radioactive materials.
Yeah,
and
we've
underground
had
testing
explosions here.
Huh? Wasn't the testing in Nevada and in New Mexico?
But it didn't travel that far subterranean.
Okay.
This is actual
I mean, you're stroking my paranoia here.
Well, this is the actual minerals that are in ground, like that you'd have to mine, like uranium or something like that. And there's certain particles that produce radiation that are subterranean.
But they're always there.
They're always there.
So if we put down this really good concrete slab, right, and you put down that plastic stuff, and then you put down that concrete, how's the radon going to get out of the ground?
Through holes and cracks.
Yeah, through holes of the.
It's a
plastic.
Gas. It can burn. Well,
you got to lap the plastic over somewhere.
If
and that's all it takes.
Yeah. And they've got a. You should check with your state radon. Every state has a radon office that they can check with and get the test kits. But every home should be tested in radon.
You said there were areas where they haven't found radon?
No, I said every area has it. It's just at certain levels.
Okay, so where's the worst and where's the best? And you're saying that right here in handy dandy little old Weatherford, we're at the moderate risk?
They've got a little. If you can go to, I don't remember the website, but it's Texas Agriculture Extension Services, which is produced by the Texas A&M University on radon gas. It's got Texas Home Safety, and it will give you pretty well the areas that have it. Now, most of the border states to Canada, except for Oregon for some reason. Oregon has it at a moderate level, but all the rest of all the way across the top to the Great Lakes have a high level of it. And so that must mean they got more uranium underground.
Can you pick this up with a Geiger counter?
No, I don't think it's
the wrong kind of particle?
Yeah, wrong type of particle. I wouldn't. They've got certain test kits, and they've got short-term test kits, which you put down, and these are the ones that cost about $12 or $13, and you set them in there or set them around your house, just in any area around your house.
Well, can you hang them from the? There's a difference, though. You don't hang them from the ceiling.
No, it's a heavy gas, so you'd have to put them on the floor or under a cabinet or something like that.
Down low,
and
where the kids are laying on the floor watching TV.
Right, and you leave them there for 7 days, and then you take them, bag them up, and you send them off to a laboratory. And for the $12.95, you get the kit, and that includes shipping and handling, and give you a report back to your house. Now, that's the short-term one. They've got a long-term one that you actually put down, and it is there for a minimum of 90 days.
Yeah.
And you box it up, and what it does, it tells you the concentration of radon gases for an entire season, for a 3-month period.
Is radon affected by the weather, the season?
Yes.
So what are the good and the bad seasons?
I didn't get that far in my research.
Oh, okay.
I think it depends on atmospheric pressure.
I would think heat rises. So
yeah, heat rises.
Warmer it gets.
Well, did you know heat does not rise? It's the air that's heated that rises.
If anything's heated, it's going to rise up.
Right, right. So it's the hot air that actually rises. So, yeah, the hotter temperatures would seem that it would be more prevalent than it would in colder seasons because cold air.
But you said there was also something to do with disturbing the ground. That was the key. Right. And in a lot of our areas, when we're breaking ground on a house, we'll go in and we'll scrape the surface. But there's a lot of areas that we'll cut in, and we may cut in 2 or 3 feet, depending on what the elevation is. And you think that's enough to release the radon?
Any disturbance of the ground is enough to release whatever is there. You're actually it's like taking the part of the top off of something that you're actually disturbing the ground, so you're putting the particles in the air, and it could have long-term effects. Now, if you're doing your foundations and all this stuff right, you're ventilating your houses properly. Like up north, they are putting actually vent tubes that vent out through the attic and have a circulating fan in their basement, and actually they're pulling fresh air into the basement and they're venting it back out of the basement with another vent pipe.
To move the radon
and that's what we do with most of our houses that we build. We're using a April Air Model 8126 outside air ventilation system. It's got a thermostat on it, and it's got a humidistat on it, and if temperature goes above, I believe, 100 degrees, it won't open. It'll wait till the temperature cools down a little bit. And then if humidity is above 80%, it won't open, but it normally will open, and you can set it on timers that'll come on and stay on a certain length of time, and it goes through your air handler and filters the air and conditions
sucks the air out of the house.
Well, it actually puts air in the house, and
is there any way to make radon visible?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what are you going to do? Contaminate the air with another particle?
I don't know. I don't know. If
the test is real simple and easy to do, and it's cheap, so why not just buy the test kit and put it down and check?
Right, but then what do? I don't have an April Air system.
Open a window and start a fan.
That's it.
Yeah, it's ventilation. That's all you've got to do is ventilate, but you're going to know whether or not you need to ventilate the house. And that's the main thing, is just knowing you've got a problem, because it's carcinogenic, causes cancer. It causes respiratory problems, and it could be fatal up to a certain, And like I said, people out here in Texas, we're not, it's not that prevalent, but it is here. And
but
that's
as
what
Mac
we're doing
was
today.
saying, though, that as we build these nice big new houses that are well sealed, well controlled, with basements, with wine cellars, you don't hear anything here, but we're more and more the bigger, the fancier the new houses are going underground.
Well, yeah, we got a lot more basements being built here now.
And wine cellars. That's the one thing I did pick up on a lot of publicity on, where there was a wine cellar under the house, because you want to keep the temperature just right for your wines.
And now, instead of insulation, we're foaming. We're making a whole closed-up envelope.
We're making an ice chest.
Tighter and tighter.
And the reason we're doing
that
is because of our utility bills. And everybody wants to live comfortably and control their environment. And so we're making ice chests to live in. But when you do so, you're sealing in problems if you don't build it right. So all of our houses, like I said, we foam. We put in outside ventilation units to bring in fresh air and keep you from having. And a lot of people have heard of sick house syndrome. Yeah. Well, sick house syndrome or sick building syndrome has to do with gases and pollutants in the air that are not taken out. So what you're doing, you're trying to alleviate that problem by ventilating.
And these good old winds that we have here. The other day it was 90-something degrees, and the next time I look at when that cold front came through with those wonderful winds, and the temperature had dropped 30 degrees in 30 minutes, it was wonderful to open up. And so in that case, something as simple as that would have relieved all of the radon and other pollutants in the house.
Yeah, but what people don't really think about now, especially out here in rural areas and stuff, is what do most of us have out in the country that city folk don't have. A water well.
Oh.
Okay, if you bore a water well, you're boring subterranean down 200 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet.
Yeah. All
right, there's radon gases that can attach to a water molecule. And so you've got radon in the water. So when you turn on your faucet, you're bringing radon gas into your house through the water itself.
Is it becoming airborne then?
It becomes airborne then and or separates from the water molecule. It can. There's not that big a problem with it as it is actually seeping up through your foundation or coming in other directions. But there is a problem. So that's, it's not a problem if you know it's there.
Because it's simply corrected.
Because it's simply corrected. But if you don't know it's there, it can give you asthma. I mean, there's all sorts of things that are attributed to radon gas. All sorts of health problems.
Predominantly respiratory, though.
Predominantly respiratory up to the point that it gives you cancer or gives you...
But predominantly respiratory, I'm saying, is because it would be lung cancer.
Yeah.
It's not going to give you fingernail cancer. It's asthma, which is respiratory. What other... It's not attacking any other portion. So it's an inhaled gas that does its damage.
Correct.
And so cigarette smokers in a radon environment are getting a double bang.
Correct.
Makes you want to have a smoke, doesn't it, babe?
Yeah, got 2 or 3 of them. But,
and it's dissipated. If you don't have an elaborate system, then you need airflow. And Mac, you were saying it's not. You'd never heard of it in any of these old houses. You're not encountering it in the old houses. Did you ever test for it?
He probably never had it tested.
Have you ever tested?
They won't hold air, basically, unless you.
But have you ever tested an old house to see if there's anything? Do these old houses that you've done all your restoration on, do they have any basement? Do they have any dig out areas? Mm-hmm. So some of them, like root cellars, that was a common Texas thing,
was it? Common. Usually that was, well, not necessarily always outside, but they were underneath the kitchen normally.
The kitchen is the one thing the old places had underground?
There was basement in the Mary Martin home on Oak Street.
Was there?
Yes.
There's basements in most of these older homes up here. I mean, they're not real huge, and a lot of them aren't full-size basements.
No, this was just, a third of the house.
For?
Laundry room, restroom, storage, mechanical, mainly. They didn't.
That's fascinating.
It was good to put the mechanical in there.
Yeah. But I'd be curious to see if the radon gas is a product of recent society or recent education, which is impacting the production.
To understand radon gas and where it forms and how it forms and how it moves, you got to start with the ultimate source of radon gas, which is uranium. And through my research, it says all rocks contain some uranium. All rocks. And although most contain just a small amount, between 1 to 3 parts per million, they all contain some. But so it just depends on the concentration of the uranium in the rocks below the surface.
Does your research tell you if it's a kind of rock? If it's the?
It just says all rocks. That's what the research says. I mean, the things that I pulled up, and the higher the uranium level in the area, the more apt you are to have radon gas, and that's the reason it's more prevalent up in the northern states. There's a strip that comes all the way down. I was looking at the maps that it comes all the way down through New Mexico, but it's a thin strip, and it looks like it rides the Rocky Mountain string.
It's not White Sands, huh? Where the aliens landed?
Nah, they probably took all our uranium to fly the ship with. But anyway, it's sparsely spread. But like I said, you could have isolated pockets of it throughout Texas, and without testing, you don't know. And
if you don't test at all, and you have a low area, is there any harm to just doing the ventilation? No. If you've got a basement, to put an exhaust fan in. I mean, that's all you're talking about, right?
Right. And
So it has to be an exhaust fan that goes to the floor, though. It's got to draw off the floor?
it needs to draw from a low area. I mean, but you don't have to draw it. You just move the air. It's going to disturb it. But,
what, Mac?
Well, I know a lot of air guys say that all the air in the house needs to turn over every 24 or 12 hours. I don't remember the ratio of it, but yeah. They even tell you to put in, just the new air systems to actually turn all the air over in the home.
So
exhaust
that's
it all out and pull in all new.
So that's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's doing it.
So that's how they've countered the sealed house.
Yeah, and a lot of these houses that are placed on pier and beam, you don't have to have a basement, but if you've got a pier and beam, and don't ventilate the underneath the house. And I've seen people, they go and put these metal plates over their vents and stuff on a pier and beam house and seal it all off. Well, that's a no-no. You don't do that.
Well, it's all holding in moisture.
Well, it's holding a lot of things. It's holding in a lot of things, and there's all the rules have changed on pier and beams. We got to take another break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
Are you having a construction-related issue? Do you need a construction attorney? If so, you may call the law firm of Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Kelly's family background in the construction industry has led to her focus in construction litigation with over 9 years of experience practicing construction law in and around the metro area. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009. Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Principal offices are located in Lewisville, Texas.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. Services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. Again, it's 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. And my guest today is Mac Davis with MHD Construction, Gene Gibson with Gibson Home Builders. We were talking about mold, mildew, and radon gas that nobody talks about down here. And but I'm going to have our house tested. I'm going to go ahead and get the kits.
Well, you were saying, though, about pier and beam and not sealing off. And that would resolve it, though, with those vents.
Right. You got air blowing through it.
We put metal grate over our vents on one of our houses. It was pier and beam, keep the skunk out. We had skunks moving in under the house.
Yeah, but they were grates. They were vented. They weren't metal plates.
So you have options to keep the critters out. I can see that would make sense. But the ground underneath the house stayed much more moist than the surrounding area with the pier and beam.
Well, no, it didn't. Not if it's ventilated right.
That stays it turns into just dust over there.
Does?
Yeah. Now, what happens if you seal it off? Then you get
mold, mildew, and radon, and skunks moving in.
Yeah, you get all sorts. Well, I don't know where you get the skunks because
we had skunk under the house.
No.
Yeah.
No,
you just don't remember.
That was under one of the trailers we lived in because we didn't have any access to the inside on a pier and beam. But that's been many years ago. But they got smart ventilation, which brings fresh air in your home and around the crawl space. And what it does, it cuts down all the problems that you have when you ventilate. And the tests, you can buy a lifetime support on radon issues, and I think a long-term tester for like $120. You're not talking a whole lot of money here. Like I said,
I like the $12 one to
well,
find out.
you can buy
there's
the $12. The ones that are over $100 amount, they're little electronic devices, and they actually set off sirens when the levels go up too much.
Sirens.
What the little?
It was a mythical person.
The women that play the harps on the rocks in the ocean, drawing the sailors over to.
Yeah. Who were really walruses. But anyway.
I thought they were manatees.
I think I digress.
Always the walrus.
That's a guy that's been at sea for too long. Anyway, you're sending away for a radon kit, and you're going to test our house.
I'm going to test our house now that I've done all this. It kind of, people go into their houses, and you've even said that you feel better outside. Mm-hmm. So, and this is a house that we just bought. We're going to tear down eventually and build our new house. And so, I'm going to have it tested. I know if I had built a newer house, since we ventilate all our houses, I wouldn't worry about it. But this one, I didn't build it. And so, when I'm away for long periods of time, like on seminars and stuff like that, I feel more active and a little better. So there's something wrong with the house. I just need to test it and find out.
Well, this morning when I opened the towel drawer in the kitchen, there was a mouse staring at me, and that was my main concern. We have a ferret, a hamster, 9 birds, 3 dogs, and I have 8 cats, and I got a mouse in my kitchen.
He snuck by them.
Yeah, right.
They were sleeping on the job.
I quietly closed the drawer. I got to deal with that, and that's more immediate than radon.
But you can buy these short-term test kits, and that's what you do. Really, spend the $12, $12 or $13. I think if you buy one, it is around $15 or $16, and 2 or more, $12.95 is what I was reading on the internet. And set these out to just determine if you have a problem, and then if you do have a problem, then you go from there. And like I said, I'm not saying we do have a problem here, but there have been reported tests performed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which we're pretty close to Fort Worth, that would warrant me to test a house. And like I said, the Texas A&M University Agriculture Extension Service says that all houses should be tested.
And you can get to texasanm.edu and just do a search to find anything.
Well, just go Radon Gas. We got to take another break. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been serving your needs in kitchen appliances since the early 70s. They offer JennAir, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and many other appliances. And their sales staff is ready to help you anytime you might visit. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, the Alamo Appliance number is 817-531-2701.
Are you having a construction-related issue? Do you need a construction attorney? If so, you may call the law firm of Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Kelly's family background in the construction industry has led to her focus in construction litigation with over 9 years of experience practicing construction law in and around the metro area. For more information, you may visit www.kmdalegal.com or you may call 972-434-8009. That's 972-434-8009. Kelly M. Davis and Associates. Principal offices are located in Lewisville, Texas.
Croft Foam Insulation and Protective Coatings has over 25 years of experience in the spray foam business, serving residential, commercial, and industrial clients. Croft Foam specializes in open and closed cell polyurethane foam applications to construction, refrigerated trailers, and even castles. Croft Foam is a Fort Worth-based company. You may reach them by calling 817-482-1664 or email at foamman@swbell.net.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with a selection of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, mirrors, and vanities in all sizes. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. For an appointment with a Fort Worth lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320 or the website is fortworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford, and we're talking about radon gas in our latter segment here. And
I am totally, completely, utterly paranoid now. But I can resolve this. I mean, were you to find radon or if your paranoia has been piqued like mine has, all you have to do is open the windows, open the doors, and blow some fresh air through.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's all you need to do is ventilate.
Or else you could buy me one of these wonderful old houses here in Weatherford.
Now to do the test, you can go to www.epa.gov/radon/radontest.html. And that is www.epa.gov/radon/radontest.html. Or just go in and Google radon.
Yeah.
And radon/Texas. And it will bring you into the Texas Agricultural Extension Agency's website. And
we have an extension office
right
on
here
51.
in Weatherford that you could probably go to. I don't know if they
those people are wonderful. They have
great.
everything.
They're great. But what you've got to do, you've got to keep all your windows and your doors closed.
For the test, you mean?
Well, 12 hours prior to the test.
Uh-huh.
And you place it in your lowest living area. So if you live in a 2-story house or you live one with a basement, you put it on the bottom floor. And you leave it there. And like I said, for the short-term test, you leave it there for 7 days. Then you pack it up and send it back to the laboratory for analysis. And usually the lab will send it back in a few weeks, and it'll give you whether or not you've got a problem or not. And like I said, I have never even thought about it here. I have never, ever, you see it all the time up north.